Is Norman called off that.
Marty, I think I count his phone.
Well, he said he was on the circle back meeting, so.
Well, I didn't hear after once he spoke.
Good morning. I'm Berks County Commissioner Christian Leinbach, and I want to welcome you to the Commissioners Board meeting for November the 14th. We're broadcasting live via Microsoft Teams live event, obviously in person as well, and then also on BCTV as well as Facebook and YouTube Live. At this time, I'll recognize, at this time, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll begin with a moment of silence, followed by a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now I will recognize my Executive Assistant, Anne-Marie Grill, to read the public comment policy.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Public comment will be accepted in person and through the Q&A function. Please include your first name, last name, and municipality for all comments. Any comments without name and municipality will not be considered. Each citizen can submit one comment. Comment length is dictated by limitations of the platform being used. In-person comments will be accepted first, followed by comments submitted virtually. The meeting comment period is limited to a total of 30 minutes, including both in-person and virtual comments.
Okay.
This time period may be extended at the discretion of the board. Please be concise. Comments that are germane to county business will be read during the meeting and should not be considered to be interactive dialogue with the commissioners. The county solicitor shall be the final arbiter of whether a comment is germane and should be read. Any commissioner response to public comment will be done at the discretion of the commissioners.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. We'll begin this morning with a presentation from Peter Edelman. He's presenting regarding a project through the YMCA of Reading. Peter. Thank you, Lynn.
And good morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning. Appreciate your time this morning. I'm pleased to be here this morning on behalf of the YMCA of Reading and Berks County. They are entertaining a financing through the Redevelopment Authority of the County of Berks to finance a bunch of capital improvements at their 5 branches. As well as the acquisition of athletic equipment and other fixtures and improvements for the several campuses. As I mentioned, they are going through the Redevelopment Authority of the County of Berks. They are looking at a financing of approximately $2,750,000. The capital improvements include essential repairs to the roofs of several of the branches, as well as new HVAC systems. Anybody who attends the Y or participates in their activities has probably already seen the new athletic equipment that's here at the Reading branch, and each of the other branches also have installed new athletic equipment. By doing this financing, the YMCA is going to reduce its interest costs with respect to that new equipment. This resolution is similar to the others that I presented to the commissioners in the past. It's an approval solely for purposes of the Internal Revenue Code. The county, by agreeing to adopting this resolution, is not pledging its full faith, credit, and taxing power or any credit with respect to the project. It's really simply a precondition to the issuance of the bonds. So let me stop there and see if there's any questions.
Yeah, I note this all the time, but our role is to determine whether this has value and benefit to the community as a whole. That's what the vote's about. As you note, it has nothing to do with funding, financing, backing the project. The desire of the federal government and at times state government is to determine, is this a good project for the community? And for me, it clearly is. When we do this, we vote on this item separately. So I would ask for any input from the board and for the will of the board.
I will move to adopt the resolution authorizing us to approve the financing by the Berks County RDA for the YMCA projects.
I'll second the motion.
The motion has been made and seconded to approve item 358.224 or 2024A. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Peter.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Have a good day.
Are there any additions or corrections for the October 31st, 2024 meeting minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. We had 3 executive sessions. The first was on November 6th regarding potential litigation, personnel, and security. Another one on November the 12th dealing with litigation, and another one on November the 13th dealing with litigation and personnel. Is there any public comment on specific agenda items? None in person, none online. We'll move into the agenda. Item 1, authorizing under that budget, adopt a resolution authorizing 2024 budget transfers in the amount of $317,071 and 2024 appropriations in the negative amount of $26,482,272 per listing dated November the 8th of 2024. Purchasing, there are 2 items. The first item, item A, adopt a recommendation to award and the Director of Contracts and Procurement to execute a contract as a result of an invitation to bid regarding emergency bridge repair, equipment rental, material, and labor for initial period of 1 year to be utilized by the County of Berks as follows. Lobar Site Development Corporation out of Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. Estimated annual expenditure, $137,870. There's detail listed. I'm not going to read all of that detail. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing a recommendation to award and further authorizing the Director of Contracts and Procurement to execute one agreement as a result of an invitation to bid on vehicle maintenance, repair, and collision for the County of Berks fleet for an initial 1-year period as follows. Goes to Tom Masano Ford of Reading, Pennsylvania. Estimated annual expenditure of $77,192 based on the unit prices that are listed below. There's several items listed under Human Resources. Item 1, authorize the appointment of Amber Axon Good to buyer in purchasing. Item 2, authorize the appointment of Hai-Yin Lee to Law Clerk 1, Court Administration. Item 3, authorize the appointment of Jamie Reber to Registered Nurse Supervisor at the Berksheim. Item 4, authorize the promotion of Jessica Chernick from Historic Resource Coordinator to Historic Resource Supervisor at Parks and Rec. Item 5, authorize the promotion of Kirby Gordon from Assistant Public Defender 4 to Supervising Attorney in the Public Defender's Office. Item 6, authorize the promotion of Brian Collins from Assistant Public Defender 4 to Supervising Attorney, Public Defender's Office. There are several items listed under the Commissioners. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing the submission of a letter of intent to request funds from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Human Services for allocation of sufficient funding to effect the successful reopening of the former Berks County Youth Detention Center as a regional facility comprising the counties of Berks, Dauphin, and Lehigh counties, in a mutual effort to support the juvenile detention needs and foster intergovernmental cooperation among the 3 counties. I've asked our COO to provide a little bit further explanation of what this is and why it's important.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. So this, again, is another key element of the process. As you may recall, back in February of this year, the county declared an emergency based on the safety of the community in regards to juvenile crime and a spike and increase in gun violence. So pursuant to that, we continued to work together with both Dauphin and Lehigh County to bring together, which will be a unique experience, bringing 3 large counties together to create a regional youth detention center. We believe it's the right thing to do. We believe that all 3 counties have a serious issue with finding bed capacity. The Commonwealth has a bed capacity crisis as well. So from there, we the county hired CGL to do a study and analysis of the existing facility. They came back with their recommendations and their estimates on the rehabilitation costs, and we shared that with the other counties. They were here for a tour late summer with both all their youth detention folks as well as their financial folks. I want to thank Laura Jones, our Deputy Chief Financial Officer, along with Bob. She has really pulled together the financial components of the 3 counties. They have monthly meetings virtually to talk about the funding of the operation. And we truly believe that the right formula is 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, that each county is in the exact same percentage. We then, about a month ago, we had a very positive tour with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Human Services. That was really, really eye-opening for them. And they really they understand the concept of a regional effort. And we are asking today for the board to approve the resolution to forward our letter of intent and request for funds from the Commonwealth for the capital upgrades necessary to reopen the facility. This is not ongoing operational expenses. That comes from the needs-based budget. We have also asked the other 2 counties, Lehigh and Dauphin, to have similar resolutions passed by their respective boards. So we're all in this partnership. Future is looking very promising. We are going to then again work with our outside legal counsel professional to create the entity, what the composition of this board's going to look like, how this is going to work, how the money's going to flow, how the capital is going to be handled, and so forth. We are looking at a long-term commitment. We think it's going to be based on the funding from the state, Commonwealth, and how long they expect this facility to continue. So we're looking at a 15-year agreement where potentially the first 12 years you're locked in. And if you want to opt out as a county, you have 3 years to remove yourself. So that extends out 15 years. That's going to be predicated on if the state says we're going to give you X number of dollars, but there's a string to that. You have to be open a certain number of years. We're really pleased with the progress we've made with the other counties, the partnership through the juvenile probation chiefs and with the fiscal officers. We meet monthly. Our last meeting on Friday was our most productive one thus far, and everyone at this point seems to be locked into this and want to make this thing happen. So again, we're talking a lot of moving parts when you're trying to bring 3 counties together on a mutual, very serious issue we have in our communities.
I think it's important for people to understand that it's highly unlikely that any one of the 3 counties could do this on their own. The financial requirements are just too significant. What is interesting is these type of, often referred to as joinders, are not uncommon in rural Pennsylvania, where they may have an area agency on aging that a rural county just can't do that on their own. So they have 3 counties or 4 counties providing that service. So it's not unheard of. And I think as we find more and more counties watching the financial bottom line, they'll realize there are things we can do more effectively and efficiently as a joint effort than we can necessarily be able to say we have our own whatever you want to add after that. I don't think we would be able to go ahead with this on our own. Just the capital alone, and our understanding is the Commonwealth is looking at this because it does involve 3 counties. They made it very clear they are not supporting counties setting up their own youth detention center.
Correct.
Because of the immensity of the cost to accomplish that.
Well said. Thank you.
So, any other comments before we move on? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute agreement between the County of Berks, Charles and Patricia Meinhardt, and Harmony Hill Nursery detailing the rights and responsibilities of the parties as it relates to the remediation of an encroachment that exists on property owned by the County of Berks. Item C, adopt a resolution authorizing David Hunter, Executive Director of the Berks County Planning Commission, to execute Letter Amendment A to the existing Master Planning Agreement between the County of Berks and the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, which funds transportation planning and programming for the Reading Area Transportation Study. This letter amendment extends the expiration date of the original agreement an additional 3 years from June 30th of 2028 to June 30th of 2031 and increases the existing budget from $4,300,000 to $7,300,000. The resolution also authorizes David Hunter or Ashley Showers, Assistant Director of the Berks County Planning Commission, to execute all work orders or work order amendments relating to the Master Planning Agreement as amended. Item D, adopt a resolution authorizing an increase in the fee for each UPI to $15 effective January the 1st of 2025 and all other provisions of ordinance number 07-2012 and shall remain unchanged and in full force and effect as set forth therein. I believe, just for clarification, this is impacting the recorder of deeds.
Yes.
And it's at his request, I believe.
Correct.
Item E, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute the settlement agreement between the County of Berks, District Council 88, Local 462, American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, and Robert Simcoe Jr. grievant concerning grievance number and the numbers there concerning painting at the coroner's office. Item F, adopt a resolution authorizing the Board of Commissioners to execute the 3-year agreement with EHD to administer the County of Berks Self-Insured Workers' Compensation Program and a 3-year agreement with PMA Management Corporation to provide third-party administrative services to the County of Berks, subject to final review and approval by the Berks County Solicitor's Office. Item G, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute a construction license agreement with the City of Reading for installation of a force main for the city's public sewer system on a portion of county-owned property at Stonecliff Recreation Area, subject to final review and approval of the agreement by the Berks County Solicitor's Office. And item H, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute the memorandum of understanding between SEIU Healthcare and the County of Berks effective November the 14th of 2024, decreasing bonuses paid to licensed nurses willing to work additional shifts effective January 1 of 2025. The bonus will be discontinued. Item 2, a motion to authorize the execution of contract agreements and amendments as set forth on the contract agenda listing dated November the 8th of 2024. There are a total of 20 contracts. There's 5 with the Area Agency on Aging. There's 1 with Berksheim, 3 with CareerLink, 3 with Children and Youth Services, 1 jointly with Children and Youth Services and Juvenile Probation, 3 with the Commissioner's Office, 1 with Court Administration, 1 with HR, and 2 with the Solicitor's Office. Item 3, a motion to authorize execution of the payments and electronic transfers for the week ending November the 15th of 2024. And item 4, a motion to authorize execution of the employee payroll disbursements dated November the 19th of 2024.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. We'll move now to reports of our treasurer and controller. We'll begin with our county treasurer, Mitch Darcourt. Mitch.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Today, we have an opening balance of $225,287,087.63. We have a balance to clear up, $3,801,938.04, leaving us with a balance of $221,485,149.59.
Thank you very much, Mitch. And we'll move now to our county controller, Joe Rutterwell. Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A little housekeeping. I'm going to read last week's disbursements first, if that's all right. For the week ending 11/7/2024, we had a total accounts payable of $6,158,702.27. We had an employee payroll of $5,299,333.17 for a total cash disbursement of $11,458,035.44. That was for the week ending 11/7. For the week ending 11/14, we have a total accounts payable of $6,910,519.97. We have an employee payroll of $3,075.21 for a total cash disbursement of $6,913,595.18. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move now to our Chief Operations Officer, Kevin Barnhart.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. We have nothing further to offer.
Okay, that quickly, we are to reports of commissioners, and we'll begin with Commissioner Michael Rivera.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Just a few items, a few events that we've been at these past few days. And last Friday, Commissioner Leinbach and I had the opportunity to go to the Finest Steel thrift opening. That's on Kutztown Road, small business there. And instead of throwing things away, they recycle a lot of it. And there's items that, actually, they had some glasses there. If you're old enough to remember when McDonald's gave out those glasses with different Star Wars and others on there. They have some of those there. So a lot of different items that they have there. So if you have the opportunity, stop by and visit them. They're at 4718 Kutztown Road in Temple. They just had their grand opening last Friday. Also, last night, we had the opportunity to have our monthly town hall at the Wyomissing Public Library. All three of us were there. We had, I think this was probably the largest crowd, had maybe 30 to 40 people there, tons of questions, good conversations that we had. And the format for those town halls is each one of us speaks for 5 to 10 minutes. Then we open it up to the people that are there to really ask any questions that they want. So they're not staged questions, and they're not any questions that we won't answer. So great opportunity to have the Wyomissing and surrounding communities come and meet with us and have some discussion. And we're able to listen to what some of their concerns were. So I want to thank the Reading Public Library System for putting this together, and the Wyomissing Public Library for opening their doors to have us there last night. This morning, we had the opportunity, all three of us, to go to the Berks Nature State of the Environment. It was at the Doubletree. That's an annual event. Great opportunity to hear what's going on their end. And also, we went to the Agriculture and Natural Resources Career and Job Fair. So we went to a breakfast, we went to the job fair, we came here for a board meeting. Then also a reminder that after this at 11, we have our elections board meeting as well. Also today is the Children's Alliance 20th anniversary, as well as Opportunity House's 40th year anniversary. So a lot going on these days. One last thing I want to just do is I want to thank election services as well as everyone else who in one way or another played a role in the election on May the 5th. This is the first board meeting after that. And hope I don't miss anyone, but we have election services, we have the volunteers, we have the poll workers, We had our solicitors, Cody Kaufman and Alexa Antonavich, who worked many, many long hours with that. Who I'm missing? We have our COO office, our solicitor as well, Christine Sadler, many other people, our IS department, other departments who opened, who worked on election day. I think it was it Mitch, your office? I'm not sure if Joe's office, that also allowed some of your staff to work in elections to be able to make sure that the mail-in ballots got out on time. So thank you for allowing them to do that. There's a lot of people and a lot of work that goes into running an election. I always say, before I started as a commissioner, for me, election day was, well, you go on election day, you vote, and what could be so hard about that, right? Getting the machines out there, voting and counting the results. But when you're in the mix of it and you see what happens, there's a lot that goes into it. Elections on November 5th went well. Thankful to the hard work of everyone involved there. We still have some things to discuss today at our election board meeting around some of the provisional ballots that have been counted. And we have tomorrow another meeting. So there's still items that have to go on to make sure that we are able to certify the elections. Our goal is to get that done next Friday, which is Friday, the 22nd. So if you want to learn more about what we still have to do for this election, join us today at 11 o'clock right here in the boardroom, and it will be transmitted also virtually for those who cannot join us here. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rivera. We'll move now to Commissioner Dante Santoni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A few items. Commissioner Rivera did mention a few of the things that we all had the opportunity to attend, so I won't dwell on those. But I did represent the county at the dedication at the Trinity Lutheran Church right down the street on 527 Washington. They dedicated their Welcome Center and their All Saints Room. It's a opportunity that the community uses it as well, not just the church. And they wanted to thank the county because we provided some ARPA money to that project. Attended the Jack Frost Parade in Robisonia. It was well attended, beautiful day. So it was nice to see the people of that community. A couple of veterans events that I attended, and I see Diane's in the audience. I know that she's been very much involved in all of that, but I attended the luncheon over at the Doubletree where Martha McSally, former congressperson and U.S. Senator from the state of Arizona, was there. She was the first fighter pilot female fighter pilot. I'm sorry, female fighter pilot.
She wasn't in World War I.
She wasn't in World War I. First female fighter pilot, and she gave a very inspiring speech at the luncheon. And also last Saturday at Wilson High School, Commissioner Leinbach and I were there at the Berks County Veterans Appreciation Dinner Dance, where we inducted five into the Berks County Military Hall of Fame, including one of my friends that I went to school with at Muhlenberg, Dan Fair, who I happen to know, and we went to high school together. And I also brought my 93-year-old Korean War veteran father of the Navy. My dad was there, and I think he had a good time. I'm sure he did. Also had the opportunity to get up to Hamburg to attend the dedication. They're breaking ground on extending the building on their library, and they also celebrated 120 years of the Hamburg Library. Commissioner Rivera talked about the town hall. I thought it went very well last night. Got a little spirited at the end, but I think everything was well. We were able to let people know what's going on here at the county and get some input from our constituents. I also my last comment is also to reiterate what Commissioner Leinbach, Commissioner Rivera said about the elections. It was a very challenging election year. Presidential years are always a little crazier than usual, but I think our staff did a great job. Everybody's we had a safe, secure election, and I think they did a great job. It's not over yet. We do have some other issues that we have to deal with. There's a recount on the U.S. Senate seat, so we'll see how that all plays out. But it was really, I want to commend Ann and her team for the great work that they all did, and also our solicitors, Alex and Alexa and Cody, for all the great work that they did and the services they provide, and giving us all the legal advice that we really needed. So I just wanted to let them know how appreciative we are, and look forward to today's election board meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Santoni. I want to start by adding my thanks to everyone that was involved in the election process. Probably in my lifetime, this is probably the most complicated and probably divisive election cycle I've ever observed. Coming into it, it was tough for everyone. And there was a lot of people looking at our staff, looking at volunteers and everything that we were doing. And while I think it's impossible to say that any election ever is absolutely perfect, our folks did an incredible job running the election. And the election, as you noted, is an election day. It starts several months in advance where it really becomes intense to get things ready, to get ballots ready, to make sure the volunteers are in place, that the training is taking place. And it takes a lot more people than you could ever realize unless you were on the inside. So I'm not going to go through the list. My colleagues have done that. I really appreciate the work and effort and focus on detail that all of our team played through this process. It's not over. You'll see in the 11 o'clock meeting that there are at least 3 different campaigns challenging one aspect or another of the election results. There's an automatic recount because it dropped below 0.5%, I believe, is the correct number. And that's fine. We're not afraid of that. I will remind people that we did a recount, an automatic recount in the spring of 2022. And it involved one of the people involved in this recount. That was the Republican primary for U.S. Senate. And that involved Oz and McCormick. And in that particular case, I believe there was 1,200 votes separating them. And before the recount was even complete, McCormick conceded because the numbers really didn't change. Right now, I think we're looking at about 30,000 roughly. We'll see what happens. There's different claims in this particular one, but this is part of the process. Also want to note Saturday evening, it was great to participate in the Veterans Appreciation Dinner Dance, and specifically the induction or the public induction, because we technically inducted those 5 individuals into the Berks County Military Hall of Fame at a prior commissioners board meeting. But it was your first experience as a commissioner participating in that. And I'm going to assume, based on our discussion, that it was an impressive and humbling opportunity to be able to stand there. They could hear me here, but not very well. So, hard to believe people couldn't hear me, but yes, they couldn't hear me well. Apologize for that. But I was really moved by there were 3 that were nominated and inducted posthumously, and there were 2 that were there in person. Michael Brady from Sinking Spring. Michael, I've known since shortly after becoming a commissioner, very, very involved. And I was taken back. I said to Michael a couple of times, "Thank you for your service." And he said, "No, thank you for your service." I said, "Michael, I didn't serve. You did." He was overwhelmed to be recognized and inducted into the Hall of Fame. When I was standing next to, is it Dan Fair? U.S. Air Force. Brady was, I believe, Army, and Fair was U.S. Air Force. I was standing next to him, and he said, something like, "I don't deserve this." And I said, "Yeah, you do. Look at the accommodations that are listed up on the screen." They had a screen as they talked about each of these individuals. And I said to him, not every veteran in Berks County can even qualify for this process. There are requirements. You met those requirements, and we're proud to be able to stand here with you. And I see Diane Price here. You know that overwhelmingly, I'm sure there's some arrogant veterans, but overwhelmingly, the veterans I've known in my life are some of the most humble people you could ever meet. And I see that reinforced again and again. Both of these men have all kinds of reasons to puff out their chest and say, look what I've done. And they're almost embarrassed that they're receiving that recognition. But that's why they need the recognition. We need to hold up the real heroes in our society. Customers Bank event was on Friday. I just want to note, I never heard Martha McSally speak. I was absolutely blown away with her story and her willingness to share difficult things. She shared the fact that she was abused by her second high school track coach. She shared that in the military, abuse, sexual abuse, is a problem and needs to be dealt with. But I think what impressed me most is when she was deployed to the Mideast, and I don't know if she said Saudi Arabia or not, but she was deployed to the Mideast. She found out there was a double standard for male and female military. The women were expected to wear the burqa and I believe some other aspects. And she had a decision to make. And she didn't know what exactly to do because she risked putting herself and her career on the line. And I don't know who it was. Somebody came to her and said, read the book of Esther. And if you're not familiar with the book of Esther, there's a verse in Esther where Esther's uncle says to her when she's trying to figure out whether she goes before the king to plead for the life of the Jews, he said, it may be that God has put you here for such a time as this. And she decided that's why she was there. And she refused to follow the rules. And it took a while, but they got the rules changed so that men and women in that environment, the women were no longer required to meet those standards. That's heroic. When somebody puts their own career on the line for something they believe. I was really moved by that story. Town hall last night, I agree. I think it was definitely the best turnout. We ran into Christy from the library. She was there, and she had already told her colleague this morning that it was a very interesting crowd. A wide variety of questions. I felt like a high school teacher towards the end of it, having to kind of, okay, calm down, people, calm down. But it was a great opportunity. I enjoyed it, and hopefully it was beneficial to the people that were there. Ag Career Fair, huge turnout. A lot of our schools have students up there. A number of different businesses, some schools are there. Our Berks County Library System was there, and you might wonder why. They actually had a little booklet on employment opportunities, but talked to a number of high school students that were there. And then the State of Environment breakfast this morning, we weren't able to stay the entire time, but we were there long enough to hear about Neversink Mountain. A lot of you are aware that a significant portion of it burned. And one of the things that we were told, and I kind of knew this because of my involvement with the outdoors, but look forward to the spring. The one thing that a fire can do is knock down and maybe in some cases knock out invasives. And there'll be an opportunity to see a different type of life spring up in the springtime that you normally don't see in a mature forest. So they're looking forward to that. They had some pictures. The amazing thing is that no buildings or homes were lost, and no one was injured, and no loss of life. That was a 200-acre blaze, and when it started, if the wind hadn't been blowing away from the city, it could have been a very different scenario. So that was interesting as well. That's all that I have. Yes, Kevin.
So I failed to mention two of events next week. On Thursday, here in the Commissioners Boardroom is our budget presentation for our Budget and Finance Office on the 21st, and the 22nd is a special event at our new VA office on 20 Commerce Boulevard at Broadcasting. At 11:30 is a ribbon cutting ceremony, and the attendees are really starting to become pretty high level. We're having a 2-star general. Congresswoman Houlihan's going to be there, so it's really starting to fill up rather nice for this inaugural event at the VA office on Commerce Boulevard.
Great.
That's at 11:30.
Thank you for both of those items. I'm amazed none of us remember those.
Commerce Drive, Boulevard Drive. Commerce Drive.
Okay. Any comments from our row officers?
I do not have anything.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Really just wanted to thank you for the opportunity on Election Day. I had an unscheduled, unplanned visit of the SAM building while they were canvassing or counting the ballots. And I had an opportunity. The team looked like it did a great job, well organized. Congratulations, Kevin and Larry, on that. It seemed like everything was in order. So I wanted to just share that, I thought it was very well run, and there was obviously folks that were there that were able to be observers and everything else. So that was a great opportunity for me, and certainly unplanned. And so
We just happened to connect in the parking garage, and I told him where I was going. He said, "Do you mind if I tag along?" I said, "Sure, come along."
yeah, so I thought that was worth mentioning. Secondly, I just wanted to mention that next week I'll be at the Pennsylvania State Association County Controllers, their fall conference. Myself and many of our team members will be there. That's an opportunity for us to continue to get our continuing ed credits that we're required to get. And so I plan to virtually log in to both our retirement board meeting and the commissioners meeting. However, given its technology, I'll have a backup plan just in case I can't. But I wanted to make the board aware that that's where I'll be Wednesday through Friday.
If you get me a hard copy, that'll be a fair backup plan. I can read it if
Fair enough.
you're not able to get through.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So, okay. Public comment. Do we have any public comment in person? Who? Diane? Well, go ahead. Just introduce yourself. Diane Price.
Well, let me start with Colonel McSally and the effort she did to have U.S. military women not wear burqas when they were on active duty in the Mideast. That took a number of years, actually, to be cleared. And also in Afghanistan, if it wasn't for U.S. military women there, one of the because of the cultural situation, U.S. military men could not interact with civilian women in the country because of the rules of the folks who live there. So it actually took U.S. military women who were in these engagement teams to interact with civilian women in the country to get things done. That could not have happened without U.S. military women in the country. And those that. Let's see, on to the Veterans Dinner Dance, of course, at Wilson is always extraordinary. They must, I think they went up to 700 or so people there. And the problem for me is, do I sit with women veterans? Do I sit with the American Legion, or do I sit with the Marine Corps League? And so I did choose one of them. I'm here actually today as the chair of the Berks County Armed Forces Advisory Committee for the Armed Forces Day Parade here in Berks County, the oldest in the country, to thank the county for participating and supporting the 76th Berks County Armed Forces Day Parade this past May. Our next parade is May 17th, 2025, Saturday, rain or shine, as always, unless there's a tornado or there's like lightning. Then we don't mess with those kind of Mother Nature things. The rain we can do. Unfortunately, some of the groups cannot, so we do have that issue. Folks are welcome to participate in the planning and the day of the parade. Our meetings are at Grace Evangelical Lutheran Church, 30 Liberty Street in Shillington at 6:30 on the second Wednesday of the month. Except in December July and August. So our next meeting will be in January 8th. I do have certificates here and a thank you letter for the County of Berks and each of the commissioners. And I also have a copy of the half-page ad that we had in the Reading Eagle with the lineup and all our supporters. And I look forward to the support of the county again in our upcoming parade.
Great.
And
Thank
would you like
thank
this
you
up
very
there?
much. Sure. If you want to hand them to Amanda, she'll get them to each of us. And thank you, Diane, for your service. For the public that may not know, Diane not only is a veteran, but you've been very involved with Armed Forces Day for a long time, not all 76 years, but the Berks Women's Veterans Coalition.
The Women Veterans of Berks County, was created in October of 2000, and I was the commander for 14 years, the first 14 years, until my work schedule it made me step away because I worked at the post office on 13th Street. They took out the mail processing from there and sent it to Harrisburg and Lehigh. And so that was what we did on midnights, which I did work for 29 years. And so then they switched me basically 12 hours to working like 10:30 in the morning to 7, 8, 9 at night. And so I had to cut out a lot of things I was able to do. I also do I'm with the Combined Veterans Council of Berks County, help host the Memorial Day and Veterans Day ceremonies up in City Park. And this year I was honored by Gold Star Mother Betty Zimmerman with a challenge coin for my contributions to honoring veterans and that sort of thing. She came up to talk to me and she's like, "Don't walk away." And she handed me this and I kind of got a little overclipped. It's an honor. But again, thank you to the county for your support and participating in the Armed Forces Day Parade.
Thank you very much. No others in person? Anne-Marie, Christine,
Yes.
Can you look online? I don't think that's a valid one. I'm not going to read it until you quick look at it. When I say valid, it's off the wall.
Philadelphia is a municipality anyway.
Yeah, it's Philadelphia. I mean, if we had time there, so we will end our public comment period. That brings us to the end of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we adjourn.
So moved. I'm second, sorry.
The meeting is adjourned. We'll be meeting in a little over 10 minutes at 11 a.m. for the election board meeting.